Today I want to share with you the exact blueprint I use when creating core training for my students. I'm going to share with you 6 of my favorite strength training drills, as well as, if you stick around to the end, 2 of my favorite power generating core drills. Now these drills have 2 main functions. The first is transferring all that power you've created, or all that force I should say you created from the ground, and transferring up through the upper body, out to your arms, into the club, and eventually into the ball. This is going to increase your club head speed, obviously increase your distance, be able to hit it by your buddies, and obviously give you a better potential to actually lower your handicap. The second function is to build a more resilient body, more resilient tissue, so you can handle the forces of the golf swing better. This is going to allow you to play and practice whenever you choose by lowering your risk of injury. Now, I'm Nathan Jackson. I'm a strength and conditioning coach and nutritionist for golfers. Welcome to the Golf Fitness Dungeon. Doesn't always look pretty, but it's where we get after it and we get shit done. Okay, let's get into this here. So we've got 4 categories that I'm going to take you through, and I'm going to provide 2 exercises for each category. So this first category, actually the first 3 are going to be basically for building a more robust braking system. So you can resist the different forces of the golf swing by building up more resilient tissue. And so the faster you can decelerate your golf club, actually the faster you can swing a golf club. And that's because your body intuitively knows, if you're strong enough to decelerate faster, your body intuitively knows how fast it can actually move. Okay, so keep that in mind. So these first 2 drills are part of what I call the anti-rotation category. And so the first one is going to be a Poff Press, which is going to be a variation. I'm going to show you a more advanced version here because many of you have probably already seen this. In case you haven't though, I will go quickly over kind of where you should start. So we're going to set up with a cable or a band attached, basically like lower rib to belly button area height. Okay, I'm going to step back behind the cable, and that's because when I reach out, I want the cable to be parallel to my chest, or think about the cable being perpendicular to your arms. You can move forward, and that's going to cause a little greater rotation, which is fine because we're going to resist it anyway. But just to start out behind the cable machine. Okay, so we're here. If you are doing these first 2, don't be afraid to go heavy. And that's one of the mistakes I see people make with a Poff Press. They don't go heavy enough. They don't challenge themselves enough. So go super heavy. Okay, we're going to pull in to your body, right into your sternum. Good stack of thorax on top of rib cage. Good athletic stance. Shoulders are kind of back and down away from your ears. We're going to press straight out, and you want to keep this handle directly in line with the sternum at all times. So if you've never seen this drill, go ahead and just hang out here, because the cable is trying to pull me into rotation and maybe even a little bit of like lateral flexion, and I'm just resisting that. And so maybe you just hang out here for 8 breaths. Okay, so 8 breaths, and then you kind of flip around and go the other direction. If you're a little bit more advanced for that, you can actually add a little bit of movement to it. So we're here, you can breathe in as you pull in, exhale as you press out. Okay, so again, 8 reps, flip around, other side. Go heavy. Now, this is a little bit lighter because I'm going to add some dynamic movement to it. So we're going to pull in, same thing. I'm going to set up here in a split stance position. You can go either outside leg forward or inside leg forward. I find inside leg forward is a little bit harder, so I'm going to start out there. Okay, get good and set up here. Make sure you're nice and tall. Good stack again of thorax on pelvis. And from here, just press out. You got to maintain that position as you go down into your split squat. Exhale on the way back up. Think elevator, not escalator on the way down. Try to find the big toe on your, in this case, my left foot, just so I keep it straight, I don't spill over. That'll help as you notice my knee kind of flares out. Keep that big toe down, activates the adductors, keeps that knee kind of in line with the toe. And that's 8 reps, flip around, 8 reps on the other side. Okay, next drill is going to be a landmine bus driver. You can do this with anti-rotation, or you can do it with rotation. We're going to go anti-rotation. So I'm going to set up here, and if you don't have a landmine, you can just drive a barbell in the corner of a wall. Good stack thorax on pelvis, shoulders down and back. I'm going to extend the barbell up. From here, I'm going to slowly lower it to my side. I'm going to bend this arm, keep this arm straight. 3, 2, 1 on the way down, and then explode on the way back up using your obliques, using your core muscles. What I don't want you to do is like move your entire body to do so. So down and then back up nice and quick. Lower for 3 seconds to the left and then drive back up. I like to pause at the top just to make sure good stack. Check in with the stack if you have on thorax and pelvis, and making sure that everything is nicely aligned. All right, so we're here. Stack is good. Athletic stance. I'm gonna go to my right first, so breath in, brace, 3, 2, 1, and then try to come up a little faster. Other side, 3, 2, 1, and then come up a little faster. Okay, left and right equals 1 repetition. Looking for about 8. Again, go heavy. That 8 reps is very difficult. If you feel you can do like 10 to 12, weight's too light providing you have good form. If you only getting like 5, 6, weight's probably a little bit too heavy. All right, gang, let's move on to the second phase of our overcoming isometric drills. All right, gang, let's move into our second category here of our isometrics. We're gonna go into, the first drill is gonna be a tripod plank, which is an example of kind of a yielding isometric, where you're just kind of holding your body weight and you're resisting any kind of movement that's going on. So very similar to the anti-rotation phase. And then the second one, we're gonna stand up and we're gonna go into more of overcoming isometric pull, which is basically you're trying to move an immovable object. Okay, so I'll talk about that as we get into it. All right, so the first one is gonna be our tripod plank. So again, if you have never done a tripod plank or you're not really good at planks, just start out with regular planks first. Okay, elbows directly underneath the shoulders, good stack of thorax on pelvis, and you're in that good position. Again, if maybe this next drill might be a little bit too tough of a jump to go from planks to tripod, maybe you start doing things where you're in a little bit dynamic, where maybe you're moving, kind of reaching forward with your arms, or maybe lifting up your feet a little bit. Maybe you're in a hand plank position, maybe doing some shoulder taps or some drags with a kettlebell or something underneath. Those are kind of great plank variations in between the tripod plank, which I'm going to show you right now, if the tripod plank is a little bit too difficult for you. So let's get down into this, knees on the ground. Going to get into a good plank position here first. The wider your feet are, the easier this is going to be, okay? The narrower your feet, obviously the more difficult, especially when you get into the tripod position. So I'm going to start kind of neutral here. Elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Even though I'm horizontal, I'm going to get into a good stack, so I'm just kind of big breath in. Exhale, let my lower ribs kind of come down towards my belt buckle. You probably saw my lower back flatten a little bit, okay? From here, good plank position. Okay, and when you're ready, gonna drive one arm back. Oh yeah, I haven't done this in a while. I am shaking. I like to squeeze this fist to create some tension. More tension, the better. Obviously, your body wants to rotate to compensate for the lack of one leg type thing. You want to try and keep your torso parallel to the ground at all times. Okay, 15 seconds on, come back down. You would rest for 15 seconds and then go into the left side. Okay, when you're ready. Now this side doesn't feel as difficult. Oh yeah, I'm still shaking. Okay, don't let your head drop. Keep it nice and tall. Double chin in a way. And then from here, when you're done, again, 15 seconds, we'll go back and forth there. Okay, moving on to the next one. So I have a chain set up. Now, if you're at the gym, you can still use your cable machine. Go ahead and load up the cable machine to a weight that you cannot move. And now, if you're doing that, you may not have space to use this handle. Instead, I recommend you attach the tricep rope to here. Okay, that buys you a little bit of space from your cable stack machine. And you're gonna hold it like this and then try to rotate. You'll see what I mean here in a second. Okay, so if you don't have access to a cable machine, okay, so my cable machine only goes up to like 60 pounds, I can move that. So I have the weight of the rack plus 90 pounds with a chain. This is not going anywhere, no matter how hard I pull. Okay, so from here, similar setup as our Poff Press, stepping behind, reaching out, handles in the sternum, basically parallel or perpendicular to the arms, however you want to think about it. Good athletic stance. What I'm trying to do here is rotate. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is actually rotate this way. I'm obviously not going to be able to move, but you're going to see this is difficult. All right, so athletic stance, thorax on pelvis, shoulders down and away from the ears. And you're pulling like hell. 5 seconds and relax. As you go 5 seconds on, take about 5, 10 seconds rest. Back in, maximum intent, and go. Now what you can't see is just like the golf swing, I'm actually scissoring my feet, okay? I'm in the balls of this foot, pushing that way, even though my hip's not rotating like it would in a golf swing. I'm simultaneously kind of in the heels of this foot, pushing, I'm pushing this way, pushing back, okay? And now the weight is kind of counterbalancing that, so my hips aren't moving, but I got that force going on the ground as I'm pulling as hard as I can. You're really gonna feel that, okay? So 3 repetitions of 5 seconds work with 5 to 10 seconds rest in between. Flip around and go ahead and do the other side, okay? Those are your 2 drills for the isometric portion. Let's move on now to the rotational portion of these drills. Moving on to our rotation phase. Now, before we get started with these 2 drills, you could do the landmine bus driver and just use a pivot with your hips. So you're here, as you go down, you can kind of get up, boom, boom. Okay, so it's more rotational. I'm gonna give you 2 other drills. So the first one here is gonna be what we call kind of a 2-to-1 method. Okay, you're gonna see here, it's gonna start with 2 hands, moving into 1 hand, a slow eccentric. Okay, and then we're gonna go high to low here. Now the angle doesn't matter. You can go high to low, you can go horizontal, you can go low to high. You know, doesn't matter. Basically just, play around with it. So from here, same thing. I'm gonna kind of set up a little bit behind here. I'm gonna bring both hands in. I'm gonna have a good hand or good grip on with my outside hand here. And I'm gonna press out. I'm gonna let the cable wind pull me into some rotation with the upper body. So again, good stack of thorax on pelvis. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Okay, I'm rotating kind of with my sternum is now facing the cable machine. Because I have an issue in my golf swing, I kind of separate my arms from my body sometimes. I'm actually kind of squeezing my arm in to kind of feel the outside of my pec. Almost like I have a club head cover there. And I want to try and kind of maintain that throughout. That'll kind of keep my torso rotating, which we'll see in the next drill. That's how important that really is. Okay, so I'm here, athletic stance. I'm keeping my lower body quiet. I'm letting my upper body rotate. So again, we're trying to disassociate, get some separation between lower body and upper body. And from here, I'm going to rotate down the other direction. Okay, I'm going to slowly release my inside hand. Again, I'm squeezing right here. I put my hand on my rib cage just so I know that I have a good stack of thorax on pelvis, and slowly let the cable win and resist that cable on the way back up. Okay, 2 hands, back to 1. Rotate as far as you can, and resist. Good, like 3. If you want to go 5 seconds on the way back, totally fine as well. Again, 8 reps, both sides. That way you're ensuring nice and heavy. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down a bit. I'm gonna take some weight off because I won't need as much. We're gonna grab a stability ball. We're gonna hug it. I like this drill. We're gonna grab the cable here in a second and just basically hold it here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate. Okay, very similar. Keep the lower body quiet, okay? Rotate, keep my head facing forward, and then slowly let the cable win and just kind of resist on the way back. I like this, again, very similar issue that I have is making sure that my sternum and my hands stay connected. And so the ball helps me with that, into that rotation. Okay, so we're here. If you really want, you can also use the tricep rope if you want to change your attachment. Okay, so sometimes I grab kind of the cable here. Good athletic stance. Okay, I'm going to rotate my upper body, and then I'm going to rotate to the right. I like to keep my head forward, as I said earlier. Slowly resist on the way back, as far as you can go. And again, just like the other drill, start out horizontal for this one, okay, to learn it. But then you can start playing around. So I don't really do low to high very often with this one, but I do go high to low, again, to kind of mimic my golf swing. All right, that's the rotation phase. Let's move on to the final phase where we're gonna go into more power drills. Okay, you made it this far. We're going into the last 2 drills here, which is part of our power rotary phase here. So we're gonna grab med ball here, med ball weight, okay, just so we stay explosive. Remember, any kind of med ball drills for power and speed, we're trying to move this weight with maximum intent. If we're slamming it into the ground, we're trying to break through the ground. We're tossing it into a wall, we're trying to put a dent in the wall. If we're throwing it in the air, we're trying to go as high as we possibly can. You can't bias, or you can't what's the word I'm looking for? You can't push your kind of tween your muscle fibers one way or the other unless you use actual maximum intent. That way we can bias one direction or the other. In this case, as golfers, we're trying to bias them towards the more explosive side of things. So we want to make sure that we are, again, trying to slam this ball as hard as we can. So in terms of medicine ball weight, 1 pound of med ball weight per 20 pounds of body weight. If you are somebody who's maybe a little bit heavier, I would just stick, if you're male, stick to like a 6 to 10 pound ball, no heavier than 10. Female, probably stick between like a 4 and a 6 pound ball. Okay, so we're here, good athletic stance, thorax on top of pelvis. I'm gonna come up over top of my head, so I'm gonna start to my right hip, up over my head, and then slam down on my left side. Just like the golf swing, I wanna get to my lead side and be able to post up here as I'm coming over top and then slamming to the ground. That's gonna be the first version. The second version, I'm gonna add a little bit of a pop or a hop to it. Not even a hop, just a little bit more use of the ground to get us into our lead leg and explode. But I'll take care of that in a second here. So again, we're here, up over, and then try to put a hole in the ground. Okay. The second version, a little bit more advanced, might take a little bit longer for you to kind of get, so you can slow it down if you need to, is I'm gonna come up over, get into my lead side, I'm gonna load into it a bit more, and as I'm coming down with my arms, I'm gonna kind of pop up, okay? Push more force into the ground, the force give me more back. Not that I'm jumping off the ground, but more of just, again, pushing more force in. I might leave the ground a little bit, but I'm not actually jumping, if that makes sense. But I am trying to come up as my arms are coming down. Okay, so it looks something like, okay? So you can see on this side, I'm kind of like destroying my flooring here. So that's a great way to increase your power and speed using a med ball. So that's the first drill. I'm gonna pause here for a second, flip the camera around, and we're gonna go against the wall here for the second drill. Okay, we're gonna finish off here with a medicine ball scoop toss. So I'm gonna set up in front of a wall. Got a medicine ball, again, keeping the same 1 pound per 20 pounds of body weight. Now, with this, there's a lot of my colleagues who don't like the horizontal toss. I personally don't mind it because we are training the movement. We're not training the golf pattern. However, if you want to kind of make it more golfish, we can go into the golf pattern, okay? So if you were not going to do the golfish version, it's basically just here and you're kind of horizontal tossing. Totally fine. You're still working obliques, everything we need. If you want to make it more golfish, then we just got to maintain our shoulder tilts, okay? So that's what we're going to get into. Now it is a scoop toss, so technically it should kind of come underneath. You're scooping underneath. So we're here, good athletic stance, good stack of thorax on pelvis. I'm going to load into my trail hip. I'm going to use the 8 pound marker for this first one as kind of a guide. And what I mean by that is I'm going to load in my hip. When I come through and throw this ball, I want to be basically letting the ball, the 8 pound marker there, face the wall. Okay, that's kind of my own guide. That's going to help me drop this left side so it's lower than my right side. Okay, and then obviously similar to the golf swing, loading into this lead leg, pushing down and forward to get that lead hip out of the way, and then boom. Okay, so scoop toss. Load. Okay. Guys, oh, before I let you go, just like the rotational slam, you can start out with just getting heavy into that lead side. And then as you kind of progress, if you want to add a little bit more oomph to it, you can kind of think about really driving out of that. Again, not jumping, but just putting a little bit more force into the ground. As you kind of push down, that's when you toss. All right, guys, that's the end of your power drills. There you have it, crew. 8 of my favorite core drills for golfers. If you have any questions about any of the drills, or maybe you are somebody who struggles with any of the rotary centers I was talking about in this video, go ahead and just drop a comment down below. I'll be happy to get back to you, happy to point you in the right direction of, I have a number of free resources that you can take advantage of, which on that topic, I am running a free 14-day challenge for golfers on August 19th. This is 2024. We're gonna go after mobility, stability, core strength and control, and we're even gonna go a little bit after diet here, tackling behaviors around food. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely let me know down below or shoot me an email. But if you're interested in it and you can't make August 19th, then check out the Par 5 Friday newsletter link. That's my newsletter. It goes out every Friday. 2 fitness tips, 2 nutrition tips, and 1 quote. And again, you're the first person to know about any openings in my program, any challenges I'm running, any master classes, any new PDFs that I'm giving away. So hopefully there's something in there that you can benefit from. As always, I would really appreciate if you like this video, if you got something from it, go ahead and find the sweet spot of that subscribe button. And remember, you got to get strong if you want to play long. We'll see you in the next one.